In this episode of A Chirp in a Chair, we've done what nobody else has done in the poker world. An exclusive, unfiltered Stephen Chidwick joins us as he opens up off the felt. Ranked third on the all-time money list, Chidwick shares not only who he is outside of poker, but also his indelible journey on becoming who he is today. Welcome to another episode of The Chirp in the Chair. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We got Stevie Chidwick here, one of the world's best. You don't do too many of these. We don't get you on here often enough, and it's going to be good to kind of get you hanging out with some buddies and get to see the real Stevie a little bit. So thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, do you have any reason you don't really like to be on these so much, or you just kind of doing your thing, not worrying about it?
Previously, I had been kind of a lot more focused on just trying to just basically put every single ounce of effort into poker and just like maximizing performance and stuff like that. Recently, I've managed to let go of a bit of fear and insecurity, and I'm just more comfortable just playing poker and being confident that I'm doing well and being more comfortable in these situations.
It's always kind of bothered me that like people haven't got to see the real you, because like we get to hang out, we're obviously friends, and on poker streams and poker content and stuff, you're always, the serious guy, you're one of the best poker players of all time, and you're always very locked in. But, off the table, you're this super funny, awesome guy, and people don't get to see that. So hopefully they get a little bit of that today.
It's funny how much time I've spent in my life trying to prove to myself that I'm a good poker player. Whether it's like, oh, I got to go back and like look up all these hands that I played on break, or I've got to like do these 10 things before I play the tournament, or I've got to never show a card to anyone because it's information or whatever. Just a lot of that, I think, was just, like I said, just trying to prove something to myself that I don't feel as compelled to do so anymore.
I've got a question. You mentioned previously putting every ounce into poker and being as good as you can. And it made me think of kind of like the, one of the classic examples in my head is like Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs both had that same, I'm just going to wear the same thing every day because you don't want to expend energy on thinking about fashion or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I've never been much for fashion, but there are so many other leaks that I think I've had throughout my life and continue to have. Clearly, I can remember seeing you in the hallways, maybe 8 years ago, just kind of separating, getting a little bit of time to yourself, maybe meditating, maybe just chilling out. And I've had a much greater appreciation for that recently. I feel like I'm almost going the other direction where I've spread myself so thin across so many different domains that poker has never really had that hyper focus, and it feels like, or it sounds like, you're kind of maybe going in the other direction now.
I'm just trying to be aware of my state and what I need. Like definitely there's if I've been like on stream a lot, or I haven't had a great night's sleep, or I feel just a bit sensorily overwhelmed, then I'll identify like, okay, this break I need to just like go back to my room, close my eyes for 5 minutes or whatever. But also just like giving myself the permission to not have to try and pay attention to every single thing, and not overlay an extra sense of like guilt or self-pressure that like, oh, I should be watching every showdown, I should be looking for tells, I should be this, that, and the other. I think that's more of an energy drain than just being natural and conversing, just doing your best.
You told me a few stops ago about, I don't know if journal was the word you used, but a log where you kind of track at each break how focused you felt over that period. You still keeping that? Can you tell us about it a little bit?
I actually haven't been doing that as of like basically the start of this year. I kind of felt like that was another component of me like looking at data and I was doing a lot of and continue to do a lot of off the table effort to like get better mindset, blah blah blah. And because these things are so hard, there's so many variables, it's so hard to track like, is this thing I'm doing for 15 minutes every morning helping me or not?
Yeah.
And very hard looking back to say like, did it help or not? I had a spreadsheet where every break of every tournament I would give myself like a 1 to 10 score on how I thought I played, how I thought my focus level was, and how like emotionally reactive I felt. And then I just would look at that at the end, like average it out at the end of a stop and say, okay, this stop compared to last stop, like where's the trend going?
Sure.
And I think I got a lot from it, but yeah, recently I've stopped doing that.
You know, I love a good
Oh,
spreadsheet.
I know you do.
No, you talked about like how that's loosening up a little bit, and this is something that I've really like. One of the big things I've noticed over the last, say, like 5-6 years with like the truly top guys, with guys like you and a few other guys, that you guys are like truly relentless. Like, and it's something I've tried to like cultivate in myself, where it's like every hand, every decision, every possible mistake like carries a lot more weight and kind of eats it at you top guys a little bit more. And it sounds like you're trying to manage that a little bit better. And that's like, you know, for your own like personal happiness, it seems like you're coming a long way with that. That like you're feeling a little bit better throughout these stops. You're like smiling a little bit more, and like, you know, you're more of a dad now. Your kids growing up, you like have more of a responsibility to carry like a better attitude and not be eaten up so much by every little thing. So it's been cool to see that develop.
Kind of in the mindfulness space, one of the guys that I like, the phrase he uses often is like, don't try to avoid negative emotion. You just try to reduce the half-life of that emotion. Probably come across that phrase before.
Probably not specifically, but
Okay.
yeah.
What are some of the things, are you willing to share any of the things that, you know, you do to kind of reduce the half-life of like, I think I made a pretty big blunder here, or I'm not super happy with my behavior in this situation, whatever. You know, you were mentioning self-compassion, was that? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been a big thing for me. Just not adding that extra layer of self-condemnation or self-loathing or whatever on top of it, and trying to, like, a big thing for me working with my like performance coach in kind of a cognitive behavioral therapy-esque way was just thought reframing. So whereas previously there was a lot of shoulds in my self-talk, I should have known that he was never folding to that. I shouldn't be making this kind of mistake. Like I'm better than this or whatever. And it comes with, I guess, meditation and self-awareness and noticing things as they come up, trying to cultivate like the observer presence, I guess. But when I notice those should statements, just consciously rephrasing them as something that's tries to be as accurate as possible. Because a lot of times we say things in black and white, and we kind of just, even if we don't mean it the way we say it, I'm so bad or whatever,
Sure.
we say something to ourselves, and then our mind is trying to confirm that thing that we said for consistency,
Leaves
right?
an imprint.
So yeah, just trying to rephrase that from like, I should have known that he was super strong, that I should have folded, to like, I would like to improve my trust in myself, in my feelings, or
Yeah.
I would like to work on being less attached to the theory play or whatever it is. And I think that really helps to reduce the half-life, as you said, because you're not just repeating this narrative in your brain that has you as the mistake maker or the bad poker player or whatever.
Yeah, it's just more, you know, like you said, it just doesn't breed the self-loathing and stuff, and that's easy to fall into, you know. Like,
Yeah.
I busted the mystery bounty the other day, and I was just like so rocked by it, like this, because I kind of torched it, and it's just like, just framing it in a certain way just makes the next hour just a little bit more tolerable, and like a little bit more excited to get back in there, you know. And it's a bit of a battle.
Yeah, and we all go through it, and I think it's a difficult but important problem to disentangle the competitiveness and the want to play as well as you can, which obviously has been a big contributing factor in a lot of us getting to the point where we are. Like, because I'm so obsessive, so like hard on myself, like it calls me to put a lot of work in that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise.
For sure.
But the question is, can you disentangle the drive for to be competitive and to play your best from the impact on your self-worth.
Yeah.
It does, like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the classic thing, like all these hyper competitive guys that are super successful, like, are they happy people? Like, you think Michael Jordan's a happy guy? I don't think so. Seems like a grumpy asshole to me. But
It's very tough to change hats so quickly. You know, when Stevie says disentangle, I think about that. It's like just hyper focus for this moment. I think, you know, the three of us all play tennis. Stevie just came from a mixed doubles match. And, you know, I think you're having the most fun playing tennis and also, in some senses, playing the best when you're just in that point and you're not thinking about the ramifications of the point. You're not thinking about the previous point.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious, but it's easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, you know, the three of us are all stumbling on a lot of the same mindset kind of things, probably not coincidentally, because we all have children and we want to kind of help them with this stuff that we didn't really learn at that age. You know, I don't know if I'm speaking for you guys too much, but
no, for sure.
it's difficult when you're, you know, picking up some of this stuff that you feel like is pretty helpful in your own life to not want to, you know, breed it in your children.
Yeah, for sure. And that was definitely a huge motivation for me to work on this stuff in the first place. Was that, like, you know, it used to take me, like, if I made a big mistake in a poker tournament, it could ruin the rest of my day, basically. It could take me hours to get over it. And oftentimes, like, I would need to sleep and wake up and that'd be fine. But I don't want to be the guy who's coming home to my kid mad about my day, you know, like, and I felt really a responsibility to work on that part of myself, and I'm happy with the progress I've made. I guess it's fun. It's like a game away from poker in a way. Like, you can
A harder game.
Mm-hmm.
I've always felt like a lot of shame around letting any poker result affect my mood even the slightest. Like, I've been extreme on myself to the point where 7 years into our relationship, my girlfriend was shocked to hear that it affects me at all. And I was like, I've been holding a lot in.
Yeah,
I've been really, really doing my best to hide any kind of negative emotion. And obviously that's just not helpful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think about traveling through all the stops. You know, we've talked about this before, and how hard that must have been. Just like, you have so much on your plate as like a new father, having to be your dad as well as play all these tournaments, and you know, obviously great to have the support of your family around you. But how has that been, watching, you know, from day one, daughter's born, up through, you know, now with still just kind of hitting all the poker tour stops?
Honestly, it's been pretty magical. Like, there's some parts that are harder. Obviously, I don't get as much sleep as I would otherwise, but having them being around to support me and to pick me up if I do get in a bad mood, and just have that perspective and that balance has been huge for me. I think it's really helped me to get out of my head and put things behind me and be more present. And yeah, it's amazing for Triton specifically, with slightly later start time. Get to spend mornings with the family, and then oftentimes the dinner break lines up with bedtime, so I get to go read a book, and it's really perfect. Yeah.
I think, like, hanging out with your child after a bad poker result, it's not just like, oh, I love this person and I really enjoy spending time with them. This person knows nothing about what just happened. It would be ridiculous to explain anything. It's like, what? It just takes you out of that zone entirely. It's so grounding in that way, where you're just like, the thought of mentioning, like, well, somebody hit a 7%er on me is just like off the table.
And it just makes me laugh. Like, yesterday I busted the mystery bounty in 8th. My wife and daughter are at dinner. I go and give, like, the little, you know, the card you get for busting, give it to my daughter because she likes to collect them.
Yeah.
And she goes, 8th place, are you eliminated? I said, yep, I'm eliminated. And she said, how many people are left? And I said, 7 now. And she's like, oh, It's just like, it
My
was just so
son-
funny. I don't know.
That's great. My son keeps them too. He's got them in his Pokemon cards book. He has the different cards or whatever, and he likes to rank. Kids love ranking his favorite cards. And I was so happy he put them up in like the top row. The Triton cards were right up there with Charizards or whatever.
Nice. They're cool cards.
But then my second place was ahead of the first place, and I said, "Son, that's loser talk. Flip those right away." It is kind of cooler looking. I like the black. It's like, that.
Black is second and gold is first.
Exactly, yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
They're all shiny. They're ultra rare.
They are all shiny.
Is black, maybe black's ultra more rare in Pokemon?
I think,
or no?
he's probably he's seen enough billionaires talk about their black cards, or what is the Amex, the
Black card.
Yeah,
black
that's
card?
the black
Okay.
card. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't know any billionaires.
Yeah. Your son's been hanging out with billionaires. Okay.
That brings me to another topic we talked about a little bit. As I was exiting tennis in Jeju and you and Marine were arriving, she brought up video games. And you were a big gamer, and I kind of want to hear about your gaming background, how you feel they may have affected you as a poker player, or kind of cultivated some of the mindset that's led to you being a world-class player.
Yeah, I think I always loved games of basically every kind, sports and games. I think for me, it was an outlet to escape some of my anxiety that was otherwise pretty ever present. I don't think I wasn't really aware of it growing up, but looking back, I see myself like, yeah, I was a very anxious person. But playing a game, I was able to completely lose myself in the strategy of the game and be, like you said, just be present with whatever is in front of me. I think that's probably the reason why I have always been so obsessive and attached to games, because they're the easiest access to that flow state that I think is so enjoyable for all of us. So yeah, and then when poker showed up, it was kind of a natural just approach to the same way as everything else. And yeah, just led to me spending a lot of time on it and working on my game a lot, and led me here, I guess.
When you were young, you played like a bunch of sit and goes and stuff. You were very like EV driven, very like had a very steady earn and everything. Did you like say, how old were you when you were first playing full time?
18.
Yeah, so you're like 18. Did you like have this vision of like well, I guess back then there wasn't so many high stakes tournaments and stuff like that, but did you have this idea of like, I'm gonna one day, be one of the best players in the world playing the highest stakes, or did you not really have a roadmap in your mind?
I think that was always kind of there in the back of my mind. I never really explicitly said it, and I don't think I really ever focused that far ahead. But I always had the intermediate goals. I had the like, oh, I'm ahead of Sheets on Pocket Five's rankings, or like, oh, I'm like top 10, or I'm looking at my GPI ranking, or I'm looking at money lists, or I'm looking at, oh, scoop leaderboard time, like gotta win this or whatever. So yeah, I think my mindset was always that whatever I am most into, I want to be the best at that thing. Like I remember when I was like 16, 17, when I was really into golf, I was playing around with my friend one day, and I made some comment like, blah, 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 when we're professional golfers. And he was like,
So what the hell are you
I'm not going to be a
about?
professional golfer. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Like, isn't this the thing you like to do the most?
Yeah.
Like, why would you not just do that as your job? To me, I just didn't understand his perspective. I was like, obviously, like, this is the thing I like the most, so this is what I'm going to do.
I know John G can relate to this one. Remember when we were like 10 and you're going pro in at least like NBA and NFL at that time? You spend like 5 years in the
Crossover.
NBA.
Yeah,
3
yeah.
years in
I
pro
think my
baseball.
realizations were probably like, let's say, 1 to 3 years before Seth, just because there was a height cap. That it was just like starting to look around, and none of the guys in the NBA look like me. So, fuck. Yeah, that was.
So I
that
guess
was
it's
tough.
only baseball for you.
So baseball is interesting too. Height kind of took me out there. I was a highly touted prospect. I was the second overall pick in the draft in 5th grade. had a draft. But I also quit after 5th grade because all they did was walk me because I was short, so they just couldn't find the zone. It was like swinging was just so minus EV.
That's the
and
most
just,
like smart strategy kid thing I've ever heard. It's like, I'm not going to swing because they're going to walk me every
I mean, I did every once in a while, and the coaches were like, I guess you could if you want to, but if you like our team. So I went to lacrosse where they let me cross-check everyone because I was short, and they didn't make me play by the rules.
Sick.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, you found a little loophole to use it to your advantage there. I was just getting yelled at by my swim coach.
Oh, yeah, you got a swimmer's body. Sure.
Dude, my family was all like, I had a bunch of really good swimmers from my family. Cousin was like Olympic trials, and yeah, I gave it up, but because it sucks. It's just like the worst sport of all time. Like your entire training is just conditioning. Like there's no fun whatsoever. It's fun to like swim and win. We were from like our club was really strong.
Yeah.
And had a lot of good results, but like it is a miserable sport.
What's the Kenny Powers quote?
What's that?
The Kenny Powers quote, you know what I'm talking about? I play real sports. I ain't trying to be the best at exercising.
I was the best.
Don't tell Chris Brewer.
I was the best at exercising for a while.
What about the evolution of your studying? You know, I'm very close with Nick Petrangelo, and so I've kind of watched his path and his approach to studying. I'm curious about your own and you know, what studying has looked like for you in the past, what it looks like now as one of the top players in the game.
I think before any of the modern tools came along, I was never. I wouldn't say I was a particularly talented player. I think I was fine. I was winning player, but never like one of the best at tournaments at least. And then I think I gravitated towards sit and goes because that was some of the first software. It was just like the push forward stuff, and I used that a lot and got pretty decent at sit and goes. And then kind of gravitated back towards tournaments as I found traveling and playing live and stuff like that. But there weren't really the solvers at that time. And then I remember when PO came out for the first time, I think I was in the first, few dozen adopters of the software. And I just immediately saw like, oh my God, this is going to change everything. And this is so powerful. And soon everyone's going to be using this stuff. And I want to make the most of like being an early adopter, I guess.
Wish you called me.
What's that?
Wish you called me and let me know.
I don't think we...
That PO Skype group, right?
Back then, yeah. The PO Skype group, and there was like 35 people in it, and you could just like suggest a feature, and he'd be like, okay, I'll get that done. And the next update, it was there.
I wasn't that early, but like, I was pretty early in there, and he was Piotr. Shout out Piotr.
But yeah, I put in a lot of time with those tools, obviously, and I think that's clearly been a big factor of getting me to where I am now. But yeah, nowadays it's a little bit less theory-focused study and a little bit less group work and just kind of getting it in when I can because, family life and stuff.
Do you ever see poker like ending for you? Like, do you think?
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, at this point, it's, I see it almost as like my yoga, it's motivation to improve, it's an access to that flow state. It's how I think I can have probably the biggest positive impact on other people at this point is through reputation. And
obviously there's some darkness around gambling and you have to like be a parent in that sense, but it's a game, it's like not all that different from playing Monopoly with your kid, and it's something that it's so intertwined with, you, me, John, all of us. Like we started doing this professionally so young and even non-professionally when we were, 15, 16 years old. It's so kind of interlaced with who we are as people.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't matter what discipline you focus on and become a master of, whether it's like music or sport or science or whatever, there's a level of self-exploration and self-awareness and cultivation that I don't think I would get if I was just doing random stuff all day.
It's like the one language you speak at like a truly expert level, and like you can you know, you can kind of express yourself and understand yourself through poker in a way that you couldn't with anything else, no matter how much time you put into it.
I was interviewing Ike once for the book, and he had a great answer. I was kind of asking the stock question to everybody, which was, do you ever get nervous at the table? He paused for a while, and he said essentially, not really in the way you might think, and went on to explain that the poker table is where he feels most comfortable. Just, I get nervous in life. I get anxiety here and there, you know, but at the poker table, and I think this is true for so many of us, that's where we're peak comfort. We've spent so much time there, and I think it really doesn't translate when you watch even the Triton streams. There's some levity here and there, but so often it's a final table, and that's not, you know, where you're seeing our character. But like these stops, I just feel so comfortable because we all kind of know a lot of the same things. We understand the same social mechanics of, like, you know, navigating just seeing each other at lunch or whatever. There's this comfort that if you dropped me into, like, I don't know, if I was a medical sales guy and at a convention at the Venetian, my heart would be pumping. I'd be like, how do you navigate this and that? I shake his hand now. How long do I speak to somebody at a cocktail party? It's like the poker table, you know, I mentioned this to a few people. One of my favorite things about it is if you want to talk, start talking and see who's willing. If you want to put headphones on, put headphones on. No one's going to force you to talk. You can shut the fuck up whenever you feel like it. And it just doesn't have this pressure that, like, say, taking somebody to dinner does, in my head anyway.
Yeah, and
100%.
you're among your people, right? Like,
and everybody gets it. Everyone's in the, like,
everyone gets it, and
everyone gets the pain, you know. The table knock still does something positive for me when I bust. It's like ridiculous. Like, of course they're happy I busted, but I'm it just makes me this little sign of respect, these little, like, rituals that we have. Everyone knows the jubilation and the pain, and you don't feel like you need to explain things to people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really view Triton as just such a special playing experience. Every stop I get so excited for, and I'm honestly just, like, filled with gratitude when I'm playing Tritons, because I'm just surrounded by my friends, like people I've known for a long time. I'm doing the thing I love at the highest level, and it's a beautiful location, and just I get the sense of, like, we did it. We're here, you know, and yeah, it's just so much fun. It
gets me jazzed up about poker in a way that I haven't felt since I was like 22.
Yeah.
I never thought this was coming back. Like, I thought solvers came around. It's not really my thing. Poker is going to slowly seep out of my life. But yeah, Triton's really changed it.
You don't like sitting at the 25K PLO at the WSOP and have some New Jersey scumbag chewing your ear off for 5 hours?
I mean, better than the
something fun about that too,
That's
but it's a different kind of fun.
There's a different charm. You get something different.
Oh, charm's the word for it, man. Fuck.
Yeah, but, like, I mean, I spent all of yesterday trying to solve essentially a riddle that VBV gave us, and, like, my mind is still reeling. I've been feeding it to the AI, trying to figure out. I thought I got it twice, and I was just jubilant. And both times he goes, no.
You gotta tell the people about the VBV. It's called Brainstorm.
Okay.
Talk about Slava and why this is so funny.
Has subpar English.
Talk about Vyacheslav Budigin. Is that how you say his name?
That's way better than I can say his name. I go VBV. That's his star's name.
VBV, yeah. Legendary online pro for a long time.
Absolute legend. He's just, he's two-tabling every tournament here because he's got, like, this cartoon farm up where he's, like, mining coins or something
is that
on
what
his
that
computer.
Is?
I thought he was playing, like, Stardew Valley or something, and then it turned out it's some crypto nonsense.
He's playing fucking crypto
Sims.
Yeah,
he's probably making millions while he's, like, playing 50K slows. But, yeah, so this game Brainstorm that I believe, did he make it up?
I'm not sure. He speaks very little English, by the way.
Yes.
But he's like the funniest.
Hilarious.
He's the funniest guy on the planet.
There are 3 clues that tie the answer together. Clue number 1, Daniel DeVoris is doing a little translating for us, but it's not entirely clear that it's working. Clue number 1, in the Greek temples back in the day, the statues were very small. At some point, they became larger. Clue number 2.
Okay.
During the Spanish flu, there was also another disease. Clue number 3.
Okay. I assume you've researched what that other disease was.
The AI did that for me, yes. I'll come back to that. Clue number 3 was This one was a little confusing. We originally heard it through Dvoris as people who are aloof. This is something you might think about them. Then aloof got changed to flirtatious. So it could be either, but we think it's flirtatious. We struck out with all that. A clue number 4 was, we've seen this 5 or 6 times.
That's a great clue.
And then it was in the room that we were playing poker in, and he said, this is a very big clue. The AI had an amazing answer. It didn't really work for the temples, but I fed it all the info. I was almost giving character traits on Schlava. Like as much background as possible. Hecklin's like, you got to load it up. Let it know everything. So they came up with charm. Easy to see, flirtatious people have charm, yes.
Spanish flu.
The Spanish flu was great. There was a secondary disease, I can't remember the name of it, the technical name, but it was sometimes called the charm disease.
Whoa.
What? Like, it has to be, I came flying out of my room, I was already busting the 50K, I said, it did it, and I'm running to VBP. The Greek temples, they were like, it's a metaphor for something. It didn't make any sense, but whatever. And then the charm, as far as it being in the room, like Lucky Charms, like a little card protector, like that makes perfect sense to me. But no, it wasn't that.
Did you get an answer eventually?
No, he said he was going to give it to us tomorrow, and then...
Just ask for another clue. Just see how many clues it takes you.
That's fair. Yeah, that's the right way. And then he said, at the end of the stop, which...
This game's really evolved because the original, when they made it up, I heard the story about when they made it up, it was like fucking a poster or something. It was just like VBB describes something and you try to guess what it is.
I'm really worried in the end it's going to be something like, they are all words. I'm going to lose it. I want to tell my original answer. I thought I had it. Insecure. Maybe flirtatious people are a little insecure. They're always flirting. Yeah, I've seen insecurity in the room a few times, whatever. I don't know.
They make the statues bigger because they're insecure.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a good answer.
The flu, I was like just praying it was maybe a like translation thing. He's like, oh, it's insecure because it's never gotten any of the credit. The Spanish flu got all the credit for the kills. But so I say it. I get up, I go, Hecklin pumped my tires. He goes, oh, Jeff, he solved it. He's got it. And I go, insecure. And he goes, yes. I go, yeah. And I go like tiger fist pump. I'm thrilled. I was making a ruckus. And then he goes, huh? What? Come here. And I'm like, insecure. He goes, insecure. He thought I wanted to give him the answer, insecurity, like privately give me the answer. I was so disappointing. And then I showed him, he goes, this? No. We had to use a translator. It was brutal.
God, he's so goddamn funny, man.
He is.
Can we get him on here with a divorce translation?
That would be amazing.
That would be, I mean, world class.
Let's just have him talk.
Yeah.
He could be host and guest.
Yeah, we won't even need to be here.
He'll still be two-tabling, just doing crypto on the side while he does the podcast.
I don't know what the hell that was. He's got like that gigantic old Razer laptop. It looks like a gaming laptop from like 2011.
I saw he just had his plate on top of it, just eating.
He's a legend.
You know what time it is?
What time is it?
Pete's questions.
Pete's questions.
Lead us off, Seth.
Lead us off. All right. These are questions from our friend Pete. Weirdest place you've been spotted, recognized? For weirdest place you've been recognized.
Can we replace that with Stevie told me a great story the other day in Jeju.
Let's hear it.
In Jeju.
Oh,
it happened in Jeju. You told me at tennis the other day.
Monaco it happened.
Oh, Monaco.
If it's the story I told you,
yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think I just busted like the 100K in Monaco or something. I'm kind of tilted. I'm like power walking back to my room. In between like the casino and the hotel, and this guy comes up to me. He's like, "Excuse me, can I get a picture?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I go in for the selfie, and he's like, "No, take picture of me in front of this fountain."
It's like, okay,
like,
man,
Fuck off. Throw his phone in the fountain.
I don't blame him. That's a nice fountain.
Yeah, it's a good fountain.
That's hilarious.
Do you Google yourself?
Do I Google myself?
Try to check the all-time money list if you're trying to catch
On
them.
occasion.
So you're what third?
I used to be very. I used to look at him up a lot.
You and Jason are really close in third, right? Like you guys are right there.
I pulled ahead a bit.
Yeah.
I tend to pull ahead in between Tritons because he doesn't play like EPTs as much, and then Triton comes along and he just wins 3 tournaments.
Yeah,
and then...
he tends to do that. How far are you guys behind Bonomo for
I
third
think
to
I'm
second?
like six-ish.
Six-ish?
Six or seven.
All right. If your child described you in 3 words, what would she say?
What would she say? Feel like we need to ask her.
Yeah, she's got a lot of autonomy.
Funny answer.
Ideally, what would those 3
I mean, it'd
words?
probably be something to do with poker. Would be one of them.
Eliminated.
Eliminated. Hopefully, just she sees me as someone who's just always loves him no matter what. Like that's the goal, right? Maybe funny. I try and make her laugh a lot. She calls me doo-doo.
Doo-doo.
There's a fun fact.
I like that.
Yeah. So she probably used that.
My kid's calling me Seth all the time now. It's super annoying. It's like, shut up. He thinks it's so funny. All right, if you had a late night talk show, who would you invite as your first guest?
A late night talk show.
Schlava's out.
Oh, I was gonna say Nikki P.
That's a great answer.
What's your weirdest habit?
My weirdest habit. That's a question for my wife. I don't know. What is my weirdest habit? Until recently, it probably was just like hand mobbing myself every time I cashed the tournament to just see like which rankings I was like moving up on.
Johnji, what's your weirdest habit? You probably got some weird.
Got some weird
shit going
habits.
on.
Let me think on this one.
I used to always put my shoes facing south.
Oh, I can tell you a crazy compulsion I had as a kid. So I loved scaring people. I would like just hide for like half an hour. My son's picked this up too. Incredibly patient, waiting for that moment of joy when the other goes, fuck. My dad would always be like, God damn it, Jonathan, why do you do this? I just loved it. But I was the real like recipient of all the pain because for whatever reason, even though people almost never scared me, I always thought it was coming. I would come around every corner throwing karate chops for like years. It was pretty bad.
Never got anybody?
It could be like midnight and I was going to take a piss and I'm just like going to the bathroom. It's like,
You're like, I know where I would be in this situation. I would be hiding behind the door for the last 7 hours waiting for this guy to get out of bed.
If you had a time machine, would you go back in time? And if you did, when would you go?
Yeah, I would go back in time. Well, can I come back again? Or is it a one-way trip?
Yeah, you can come back.
dude, be careful. Butterfly effect. Did you ever see it? Aaron's going to be a completely different person.
Ashton Kutcher?
Yeah. You change your baby if you go back before then.
I don't think that's how it works. I would go probably Egypt. Or maybe I'm kind of on a philosophy kick lately, so maybe I'd go back and have a chat with Socrates. That'd be fun.
Let me tell you who doesn't answer Egypt. The Jews.
Yeah, that's
Pass.
Yeah, I mean that's why I don't want to go forward in time. Like I don't want to see what's coming for white people.
yeah, that's
All right. Well, if you had to sing karaoke, what song would you sing?
It's good. That's a good one, Pete.
I was rocking out to some Queen in the shower, so maybe
Can never go wrong with that.
Don't Stop Me Now.
With the door open, right?
Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah. Accidentally left the door open and just was blasting Queen in the shower, singing along.
There's a very dorm room feel at this resort because you just leave your door open a crack and it slides to a magnet and you've just got full open door policy.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Yeah, I got divorced as my roommate. He's coming in naked and stuff. It's like we're prison mates. Do you have any recurring dreams?
Nothing recurring, no. I mean, I've had the, late for day 2 of the poker tournament, and I can't find my table.
That one sucks.
Several times.
That one sucks.
But nothing that's just.
Whenever I have that dream, it's never like 3 hours late. It's always like 45 minutes late, which is somehow like way more anxiety inducing for me. It's never like I slept through the whole day and like lost my whole stack. It's like I'm 45 minutes late and I gotta hurry.
One of the only times that actually happened to me was in EPT London forever ago, and I think there's like 2 or 3 tables left in some side event, and I had overslept, and someone calls my room to wake me up. The tournament's in the hotel, so like get dressed quickly, like super smelly, whatever. I go to the tournament area, I spot the empty seat. I go sit down, start counting my chips, like see how many chips I've lost or whatever. And it turns out this guy had just like gone to the bathroom, and my seat was on the other table, and I just like rocked up to someone's stack and just started counting it, and everyone's looking at me like I've got 2 heads.
I got a story for you guys. It's like 2012 maybe, no, 2010 I think. Staying at the Venetian. We've got one room, 4 of us, me, Nikki P, our friends TJ and AJ. Night before the main, we're all super jazzed up, real excited, and you know, set an alarm, get ready and everything. Nick's got it taken care of. Went to bed at a somewhat reasonable hour, and then alarm goes off, exhausted. Nick just goes, "Yo, dude, it's time. Alarm's off." All right, fuck, I'm really tired. And I go, "I'll shower first." And he's like, "Yeah, go." I go, trudge into the shower. Nick comes in 3 minutes later, kind of says, angry voice, goes, "Yo, I fucked up. It's 4 a.m. I just
He's not the guy you want in control of like your schedule.
No, not at all. I'm too tired to be angry, and I'm just like, oh, all right, which is a good thing because I go back to sleep pretty easily. But the crazy thing is this: so he woke us all up. We were so tired, we forgot it for over a year, and he never got shit on. And then all of a sudden, one of my buddies remembers at dinner. He goes, "Did we ever say anything about Nick waking us up at 4 a.m? I go, "Oh my God, he completely slipped the noose on that one." And we just like railed on him for years because of that.
Yeah, you can't have him in charge of logistics.
Not a logistics guy. No. All right, my finale. What was your first job?
I had a paper round for all of about 3 weeks.
God, R.I.P. Paper Boys, huh?
Yeah. And then my second job was poker.
I couldn't believe how well they got paid. If they worked, they got paid. Did
Yeah,
you
they get up at like 4:30
I
in the
didn't get
morning.
paid that well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Dude, that was a high profile
I got
gig.
paid. I got like the stack of papers. I had to put the ads in each one of them, and then
Well, NHS. If you guys get hurt, you're going to be taken care of. But we don't have any of that. Our paper
we'll get
boys.
taken care of at some point in the
At
future.
some point, yeah.
Probably.
Hey, we get hit by a car, you're just staying on the side of the road.
Can you do any impressions?
No.
That's.
I have okay animal noises.
Give us a good animal. Let's.
I don't know if I can perform on camera, but
Can
I'll
you
give
do
you
a
I'll give
cow?
you an elephant.
That's pretty legit, dude.
That's a really good elephant.
Yeah, there you go.
I always enjoy Pete's American accent. Can you do?
I can't do it.
No, an
I can't do it
American?
with good voices. No.
Fair.
I mean, your accent is kind of morphing into an American accent throughout the years.
Pretty chameleon.
You're
That's the word.
transatlantic.
Yeah.
Who's the most American sounding American reg?
The like travels and stuff.
Sure.
Most American sounding American reg. I don't know. Jason, maybe?
Who's got the best accent on the tour? Tell you what, it's not a French guy.
The best accent? I mean,
Best accented English.
oh, best, not best impressions.
No, best. I'm just saying, like, who has the most
sounds-
pleasant accent to listen to in
I
English?
mean, VBV is just.
Yeah, VVV
it's
for
so
sure.
fun to listen to.
Divorce when he does his Russian guy.
Divorce does a really good impression.
Is it?
Man, talking when he was doing what was it like? He was just reciting like Arthur and Ponikov's in the tennis chat. He goes, "Who won the play tomorrow? plus."
Plus. Archer's a hilarious guy to hang out with at the table. He just like does his little giggle. It's so fucking funny to me. He's just like Archer's great. Who else?
Santosh is always very pleasant.
Santosh is the man. Yeah. He's cool.
Yeah, just good vibes.
I'm trying to go to a cricket match with Santosh.
Really?
Dude,
Where?
you want to hear something crazy? The 2020. Apparently, like all their matches are 2020 now. Is what Santosh was
good.
saying. Yeah, because
No more test cricket.
Yeah.
You know what test cricket is?
It's when it goes like 4 days, right?
It's a 5-day match where you each hit twice and receive twice, and if it gets to the end of 5 days and you haven't finished the match, no matter how close you are to finishing, it's a tie.
No matter what the score is.
No matter what the score
That's
is.
hilarious. Yeah, fuck that. So, the most watched sporting event in the U.S. played in the U.S. was not the Super Bowl this year. It was Pakistan versus India. I think it was Pakistan, India. But a cricket match. They had a cricket match in like Long Island or something that had like twice as many viewers as the Super Bowl.
Well,
Fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Cricket
I mean,
is so big.
also makes sense. The Chiefs and Niners aren't trying to nuke each other if they lose. So,
All right, let's wrap it up.
yeah, signing off here from Chirp in a Chair or Sit and Go. What do you like for the name?
a chirp in a chair.
Or Sit and Go?
Oh, between the two.
Yeah.
I like chirp in a chair more.
All right, that's
So
now
I'm
it's
more
done.
ri- more
That-
of a ring.
I've literally been fucking outvoted like 100-1 on this.
You're the
I
sit and
think
go guy?
I'm the
Stevie
one
was.
sit and go guy. Like
You thought
fucking-
that I was gonna be on your side,
I
too.
needed Stevie. Come on, fuck. All right.
I mean, this is a sit and go guy
Table.
if there ever was one.
Yeah, I know.
Stevie's played like top 10 sit and goes. Like, I mean, at some point, people.
I mean, you can't have people like typing in sit and go to try and find the thing, right? They're just not
Ooh,
gonna find
yeah.
it. But chirp in a chair.
Marketing, man.
It's,
They're gonna
it's
find-
clever. It's
They're gonna find space gravy. There's
I can't believe Petey even let sit and go be a possibility now.
I'm with you.
also
Pete.
we're not sitting and going, right? We're sitting and chatting.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Stevie.
You're welcome.
See you later.